Welcome, everybody, to the May 12th episode of Den Excelsior, the Mostly Marvel podcast. I'm Ricky, your temporary co-host for today. We're mixing things up. Today, we're going to be kind of going over some of the news that we missed over the past month. But the big thing is we're talking about Guardians. So let's get some people out here. First up, we got the show's namesake. How's it going, Dennis?
Wow, that was such an intro. I'm good, man. That was pretty fast. You got me out quick. I'm happy. I'm happy that you're taking the charge.
I wanted to try it.
I definitely think that was a shorter intro that didn't tell anybody what the show's about.
I'm talking about Marvel. It's a Mostly Marvel podcast. I mean, what is this, like episode 1 something?
Nah, it's 92.
All right, 92.
93. It's 93. We're getting there. No, I'm cool. I'm actually excited to see what you do with this, and because like normally I prepare the whole outline of everything I'm going to talk about and stuff like that. But when you told me at the beginning of the week you wanted to do it, I was like, you know what, that would be pretty fun to just share my opinions and not try super hard to frame them in the form of questions and let you guys talk. I'll just interrupt the whole time.
Yeah, it's a really fun part of the job.
Yeah. It is.
But the show is almost never just the two of us. We do have a third person this week.
Yes, we do.
We got friend of the show and Patreon subscriber, Ian.
Nice. Hey, happy to be here. What's up, guys?
Welcome
Episode 93.
So the cool thing is Ian reminded me before the show that the last time he was on this show was for Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
That's right.
And I think that might have been why I asked him to do this with us, because like I know that I've had extensive conversations about the deep love that Ian and I have for Guardians. I could have picked some other people. I know Frank. This is like his thing too.
Like them.
You guys are both very pro holiday special, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I think you were the only one on that show that was not. Actually, it was Clark, Ian, and I versus you. Yep. Yes.
I don't think it was for me. Like, I think we made
determined, right?
Yeah.
The realization that my generation skipped like the holiday special in terms of like that being a thing in our childhood. So
yeah, I think that when we talked about what was kind of the holiday special, it was like the Adam Sandler Christmas movie, and that just doesn't count. Like it was like your touch points were like just not there for a generation like us. It was like it hit all those nostalgia points.
They were bad.
They were really bad.
No, yeah, but for me it wasn't about like it feeling like a holiday special. For me it was just about, thank God I got more Guardians. You know what I mean? Like, I just love their sense of humor. I love their music. Like, I love everything about
I've enjoyed the peppering of, in Thor and then the holiday special. I think.
Yeah, like I think that Marvel knows that people never get tired of them.
I want other characters peppered in more.
Yeah, I get that, but like, I just really. I was so excited this month for this movie that we're going to talk about later, because I think they've done the most amazing thing out of all of Marvel. And I'll repeat this. I am a diehard Spider-Man fan. He is my guy. You know who is not my guy in the comics? The Guardians of the Galaxy. I have forced myself so many times to read those books, and I just don't really like them. And so I think the amazing feat that James Gunn and Marvel have done is created characters that exist in the same universe as Spider-Man and Iron Man, who didn't used to be the household name he was back before MCU, and he put them on the same level as them. You know what I mean? Like that's nuts. And so like so much so that they were an essential part of the Avengers, like, you know, Infinity War and Endgame story. Like that's crazy. Like, do you know how many other Marvel characters are more important than the Guardians of the Galaxy that were not in the Avengers movies yet? Like it's mind
Like a
blowing.
low risk, high reward type thing, right? It's he does the same thing with Peacemaker.
Highest of rewards is what I'm saying.
He excels at it, but I mean,
Yeah,
But I think
he's very deliberate in picking the toys that no one plays with and
it's
making them
cool.
cool.
But
I
what's surprising is that he took those toys and he built them as like essentially turned them into a cornerstone of the MCU. Like there's parts of that whole entire cinematic universe that are like built on them, and they were not that before. They were not that to Marvel at the time.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's why that's why I liked the holiday special too. It's just because like did they deserve it? Hell yeah, they did. They put in the work, man. And so like I like that they're the ones, they're the part of the universe that we got to chill and hang out with over the holidays, you know, and like and give us some kick-ass new music. So, you know, it's not it has nothing to do with the Star Wars holiday special like vibe for me. Like that's not even a thing I watched when I was a kid because I heard it was bad. Like, yeah. But
Well, speaking of holidays, what have you guys been up to during our month-long hiatus? We took a little Mando break there.
we took a break for Mando, and then I apologize to any Mando fans who are still wondering. I'll get those last three out there eventually. We had a cancellation in the middle of the season, and then so we ended up doubling up another episode. But I had a surgery, and so like the amount of preciousness I have with that show because we only do it every few years. I want to edit it and stuff, and I just was not in the mood to edit for the last few weeks and stuff.
Let me
So
get it right.
I promise you'll get them. It's funny,
No,
but
they'll come out.
this show is magic because we just get to show up. We don't have to do anything in advance.
Push a button or two, and things just
Yeah,
happen.
yeah. But what have we been up to? I got addicted to Mrs. Davis on Peacock.
The Nun Show.
Dude, that show is so not a nun show, but it's the easiest thing to call it. It's badass. It's a nun versus an AI that's controlling the world. And it's so bonkers and it's so blasphemous because this nun is they actually show her get married to Jesus because that's what nuns do, right? But her Jesus is actually a person she goes and visits like in her brain, and he is the brownest of Jesuses. Like he is so brown. He is like authentic Jesus.
Authentic, historically accurate Jesus.
Yes, he's historically accurate. And you know what she does when she goes there to visit him? They bone down because that's her husband.
Oh yeah.
I guess that's part of the nun lore, right? Is that?
Yes, it is. Technically, they only make love to Jesus, and it's so blasphemous. But it's from the guy who created Lost and who did the Watchmen show, Damon Lindelof, and it's Betty Gilpin, like the girl from was The Hunt. The Hunt.
Is that a Peacock show?
It is a Peacock show.
I want to re-up Peacock to watch the Pete Davidson show, the Bupkis or whatever.
Yeah, I watched one episode of it. It's pretty funny. It's funny. It's Curb Your Enthusiasm for your generation.
Yeah, that's exactly how
the
it was
generation younger
to me.
than you. Actually, I think it might be the generation younger than you.
Ian, what you been up to?
Oh man, I don't know. Not that much really. Just kind of hanging out with the family, doing things. Watching nature shows.
What are you geeking out? What are you geeking out on?
You geeking out on? Geeking out on nature shows.
Nature shows the whole subtitle, and
I got love for David Attenborough, and he's been filling my time lately just because it's nature shows are pleasing to the eyes and relaxing. I watching a lot of them.
I remember like the whole Planet Earth hype. Like,
Dude,
I was
Planet Earth
gifted the Blu-rays for Christmas.
Planet
I still have
Earth
them.
is
They're in there.
legit, man. But you know what's funny is on that same note, another thing I found a while ago, but I mean, I finished it in like 2 hours. High Science on HBO Max. It's so funny. It's from what's Adam McKay and Will Ferrell? Funny or Die. Funny or Die.
Oh yeah.
It's from Funny or Die, and it's basically like Planet Earth or like Mr. Wizard or one of those shows like where it's like super educational, like Nova, whatever. Teaches you a lot of stuff, but the premise is like it's these two lab assistants that get high off of the experimental weed that is produced by this Dr. O. It's an AI that's in the shape of a bong, and it's voiced by Jarvis, by
Nice.
Paul Bettany.
Does he sound like Jarvis?
He executive produces it. It pretty much sounds like Vision. Yes. It's not really different at all, but it's actually super educational, and it's really funny because like the guys sometimes will try and like relate the science they're learning to weed culture and stuff like that, just to make it more accessible to the everyday person and stuff. And it's very clever. Highly recommend it. But there's only like 5 episodes and they're like 20 minutes each, but super cool. But I guess there's a second season too.
There's 2 things that I kind of have been nerding out on that are, I guess, mentionable. They're like I was talking about the nature shows. David Attenborough, they did on Apple TV. They did a prehistoric one.
The
dinosaurs.
I didn't like that one.
My kids are super into like Jurassic Park right now. We watched every Jurassic Park movie with the kids.
Like kid crack. I can see it.
And so like they are like running around doing raptor hands and like chasing each other. And so like we watched that, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool for
not to get
was, like, CG'd out. Go ahead.
Not to get political, but are kids' textbooks dinosaurs? Do they have feathers now?
Yeah, I believe they do. They do have feathers, and they do have fur.
That was my favorite line in Jurassic World, where they're like, "Don't they have feathers?" Like, yeah, but we make them so they don't, so people come visit.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's awesome, and I think that's a cool like gap bridging, because like by the later ones, they do have feathers. Some of them have feathers, right? Like in the later movies.
Yeah.
Some of the a couple of the different ones that they have, like the smaller raptors and things, but not the velociraptors.
Yeah, I do think that's cool though. That like, it's a cool lesson for everyone to learn, is that like when you're in school, you think that everything you learn is the same thing that the people before you learned. But that's just not true. Like
Pluto's still a planet, damn it.
Exactly.
Yeah, Pluto's still a planet. The Brontosaurus is still a dinosaur that was like discovered.
I think it's underappreciated how much the education system is a moving thing. You know, like it's not if it's static, we're doing it wrong. You know, so.
And I think that's why I've been enjoying that show, is because it's like I'm sort of like I'm learning it with my kids, like the new things that have changed since I grew up on dinosaurs as a dino kid.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm actually learning a little bit here and there too. I'm seeing like my kids understand that like some of the things I grew up understanding aren't real anymore. It's neat. That's awesome. Science moves forward, and that's cool. Like
I think the biggest dino trip for me was learning that like T-Rexes didn't exist with like most of the other big famous dinosaurs. Like they were millions or a couple million of years ahead or behind when all the other ones were around.
Well, that's awkward.
But
you just made it weird.
Yeah, I mean.
And then the other thing that I've been doing is watching the latest season of Titans.
The last season of Titans.
Yes, the last. Yes,
it is the last one, right? Yeah.
It's been hard to get through. I'm not gonna lie.
I have not finished it.
I have not finished it. I'm like, I think I'm like 4 or 5 episodes in.
I saw spoilers on Twitter, and I was gonna ask your guys' opinion, but I'll save them.
I did see that spoiler. It's like whatever. I will say this. I don't think I've ever mentioned it on this show before, but if you want good DC nerdy content, you guys should check out Superman and Lois. It's really good.
Oh yeah.
I've said it a few times on this show.
I've heard that.
It's so freaking good, man.
It looks good. I'll give it that.
I'm going to like. I will watch it. It's on my list of things to watch.
That show might be not coming back either.
I know people are wondering. They can't tell because it's the one. It's the only one that lives because it's that good, right? Like,
Yeah.
CW even canceled their new reboot of their prequel of the Supernatural show. So like, they're pretty picky right now, and if they're willing to get rid of that, so like the fact that Superman and Lois is still on when the rest of the Arrowverse is just gone, is the Batman show or the Gotham Knights show, has that been canceled yet?
No.
It is the worst. Ugh,
That's a show?
I've said that before. Gotham Knights is a show, and
Yeah,
it's terrible. I've told you this before.
I know. I think I just keep trying to like actively not acknowledge its existence, hoping that maybe it'll just disappear. I don't know.
It won't. I guess it might. Yeah, if you don't want to, it will definitely disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I like Titans is. I mean, it's like I've liked most of the show, but I'm having a little hard time this season. I don't know if I'm just underwhelmed or if it's like. I don't know. But I want to get through that, and I want to get through Doom Patrol because both of those I'm like a few episodes behind, and I just feel like I need to just kind of knock it out since they're going away.
Doom Patrol's not done yet because they took a break.
Yeah,
and that's the frustrating part about it.
It's done, right? Once whatever it comes back.
Yeah,
I think
I think those guys are bummed because all the stuff that they ever made for Warner Brothers is done.
For the DC Infinite, what was the streaming service called? DC Unite.
Oh, man.
Remember
the thing where they all debuted?
Where's Frank?
Possibly. Yeah, sorry, we need Frank in here for that one.
He had the subscription. I remember.
Well, let's subscribe to some of the news that we missed over the past month.
What I just realized is you're going to be able to do all the buttons, aren't you? Because you're teeing them up yourself.
Yeah,
has that been the problem?
That's part of it. It's hard to like sync up. I have a good idea when you want to talk about the news, but it's easier to just hit the button when I want to talk about the news.
But sometimes you hit the wrong button too. But I'm just saying you're doing good so far. Well, I might just let you keep doing it. Like,
I kind of like it.
Just remember, when we're done with news, we're gonna do a trivia. Okay.
Active listening activity for me.
Nice.
News. Not much in the past month. I think we were talking about this before we started. In the MCU space, writer strike's going on, so Blade and Daredevil are on pause in terms of production.
Oh, so I should not show this slide right now.
But you can. We can talk about it. What does that look like to you? That top car, Dennis?
That's Ghost Riders, right?
That's a Ghost Rider HasLab looking car. That's 2 scale, sold by Ramen Toys. This is called the Ramen Racer. It also comes in a yellow variant.
Yeah, I told you a few months ago that there was a company in the East that was going to do this
for $200.
Tell us more about it.
It is on pre-order right now. Again, ramentoys.com. They're kind of doing a little funky. You can just get the car for like an extra $15. You get the effects.
Yeah. And
then for a couple other bucks, you get a Agent Scully action figure.
Oh wow!
Who looks,
are you serious? They made him
pretty close to Robbie Reyes.
Oh my god!
Without the helmet, he'll light up.
I think without the without the mask, it doesn't look like Robbie Reyes.
No,
it doesn't. With the mask, with the helmet, oh my god!
Well, the HasLab was going for like a stylized look. This seems to be going more realistic with the head sculpt.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it was made to look like the character looks, but this, I mean, it's cool. I'm not gonna.
So,
but like, how posable is the figure? It doesn't look very posable.
I mean, he's gonna be able to sit in the car, right?
Okay, I don't even see joints in his legs on that.
I was just gonna say, I think he can stand next to the car.
If he can sit in the car, then I think that's all you need him for. But I think it's cool that they're delivering on their promise to make a figure, and then it seems to be doing well in terms of funding. So
that's cool.
Good for collectors.
Picture of him.
It has a funding goal, you said?
Yeah, like pull it up real quick.
Oh, it does say over 24 points of articulation. So it probably does have it. It's just not showing it in the models. Hey man, that's pretty cool.
It looks like it's coming out. It's already on. The car is coming out for sure. There's a 1,500 pre-ordered. If that number reaches 3,000 or 2.5, it looks like on the thing, that's when you get the Robbie Reyes or
Okay.
Agent Scully.
All right.
But still cool stuff.
Keep me posted on that one because that's pretty cool. Dang, and that was it? That we're just right into Marvel Legends now?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really think of it. What much else has happened?
Wow.
It's a little bit radio silent on the Marvel front, right? It's that dead zone where everything's either getting announced or gotten announced, or it's not going to happen until Comic-Con.
I read Bob Iger plans to have Hulu and Disney Plus merge by the end of the year.
That is that is some big news beyond Den Excelsior. But
I mean,
I wonder what.
But that affects our Disney Plus where we watch all our Marvel stuff.
What name do you think sticks? Is it Disney Plus or Hulu?
Disney Plus.
I think the Disney is the more important brand. They just have to be. They have to be okay with a bunch of R-rated content on their platform, which it sounds like they are everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, we're the only country that doesn't have.
Yeah, so I'm kind of stoked.
Yeah, give me nudity on my Disney Plus.
You know, they're about to have one more F-bomb on their platform in a few months. So, just why not? All right, we can talk about this. Marvel Legends. I scooped up all the new news that since the last time we talked. We talked in April, and that last time was I think we talked about the Spider-Verse figures, and I think maybe the Scarlet Witch figure that's going to be out later this year. But they surprised us with an announcement on Twitter a few weeks ago with this guy. This is the legit Joe Fixit from the comics, aka the Hulk in his gray outfit, where he was a bouncer in Las Vegas for the mob, I believe.
Wasn't there a Joe Fixit like 2 years ago?
Yeah.
This is a different Joe Fixit from the neck up. It is the one years ago was from the video game. This one, it's a completely new two new heads for him, and also
Gunn.
the if you saw the one from the video game, for some reason Hasbro painted him kind of green, and it's really insulting. But he only came with one head, and like this one's got a lot of character. And I don't know, man. I was pretty disappointed in the one I got a few years ago. So this is the one I want.
For all you Joe Fixit freaks out there, you got another chance.
You know, weird thing. Like I think Joe Fixit was actually the first time I ever read a Hulk comic as a kid. I knew what the Hulk looked like normally, but when I picked up a comic at the time, he just happened to be Joe Fixit, and I was like, "Whoa, this is weird." And it was drawn by like Todd McFarlane. It was pretty cool. And I, as someone who grew up in Vegas at the time, I was kind of excited that there was a Vegas superhero. You know, like that's where he lived. So, what were you gonna say, Ian?
Oh, I was just gonna say I like the one without the hat, the head without the hat.
It's good, right?
Got a lot of
curl.
expression, yeah.
Yeah,
got a lot of expression in the face. A lot of that curl is really cool. I'm digging that.
Big freaky smile on him. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
and then
there's got a very McFarlane-esque. Like,
yeah, it does. It looks inspired from his art for sure. And then this bad boy, which actually goes up for pre-order next week on Hasbro Pulse. Oh my God, this is if the holiday special is a sweet spot for certain people, I believe this box set of that very specific Mary Jane from the Spider-Man 90s animated cartoon and a repainted Green Goblin just to make it look like that. I mean, that's a brand new Mary Jane, like from top to bottom. Like that is a whole new figure. Oh my God, that outfit is terrible. It's so bad.
It's of a time. Yeah.
It's of a time for sure. It's just so terrible. But
that was like the hottest thing back in the day.
They come in the cool little VHS box set kind of thing, and those will come out later this year.
Is she completely new head to toe, or is it?
Yeah, from head to toe. That is.
Wow.
I mean, Yeah, the sleeves. She's got like sweater sleeves. They're
You
gonna
know,
you're gonna
reuse
see
there.
tons of people in sweaters later. Because they got to be using this. Is she wearing a turtleneck too? I can't tell.
Yeah.
She's wearing a turtleneck.
I like the paint
and
on
it
the
looks
goblin
like
though.
some,
It pops really well.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Looks like
I
some
the
red
green.
cowboy boots on that box.
Yeah, no, she's got boots. I don't. Oh wait, I did.
Oh, there
See,
it
look at
is.
that.
Wow.
There you go.
Nice.
That's
Norman
head to toe.
has the waves.
Head to toe. Yeah, Norman's got the hair waves.
Is that a new head sculpt for Norman?
Slightly. There is a previous one, but without the creepy smile on his face.
That's incredible.
Yeah, the faces are so good nowadays.
Good.
But yeah, now you can see from head to toe how she's a completely new, a new piece, because that's all pinless too. So those are pinless legs and pinless arms. She's cool. I kind of am excited more to see what else they make with that body besides her. But this little tribute to the Spider-Man cartoon is really cool so far. Because they've cranked out some characters that we just never thought we were gonna get. We're getting an Aunt May. We're getting Doc Ock with bendable tentacles, and then so yeah, we have to get a few extra figures that are exactly just the same as before, but slightly painted different. Whatever, it's fine. Such is life. And then such is the weirdest thing ever to be surprise announced, I think like 2 days ago. It's a comic book accurate classic Drax the Destroyer and Moondragon 2-pack that went up exclusively for pre-order on Marvel Unlimited this week. They just dropped it. They're just like, here's this thing, enjoy. And you had to like log in and stuff. It was really weird. It's amazing and so bad at the same time.
Like, get a comic accurate Drax.
That is what Drax looked like. Yes. Yeah. And
that's incredible.
If you're curious, that is that who Moondragon is. If you've never heard of her,
his daughter, right?
That is his daughter. Yes, because in the comic books, Drax and Moondragon were both humans, but Drax and his wife were killed in a car accident. His soul was taken and put into this new body that was meant to be a champion to go and fight Thanos. So he's literally designed to be Thanos' kryptonite in the comics, basically. And
pretty dumb.
He was generically like a space Superman at the time, and then eventually they kind of downgraded his powers to not have like all the powers, and he just became kind of what he is now in the movies and stuff like that. But he's not an alien, folks. Just spoiler. and then the daughter she's just a weirdo. I'd rather not explain it. I mean, she's cool. She's a really cool character, but like she has all these crazy superpowers, but she didn't get them from radioactive anything, no gamma rays, nothing. She just got them from like really trying hard and training. And I'm like, that's how you get telekinesis? Like you just keep trying really hard until one day. Okay.
Yeah. Anything's possible. Is this the first Moondragon?
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's incredibly accurate, but it is incredibly of a time. Like that's the thing you like to say. Yeah. So I think that's everything that we got. Oh yeah, here's all the accessories. You actually get 2 Drax heads in case one wasn't enough.
They had to get the most out of that one.
And those look like choke hands. Like he Thanos' neck.
For when she doesn't clean up her bedroom at night, you know. But yeah, that's what we got for Marvel Legends in the coming months and so. Like, I think that was cool because like they've been really celebrating
like weekly drops.
They're doing a drop weekly. There was 2 this week. One was just it's because all those Avengers, like I was going to say, they're celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Avengers and X-Men this year. And so we showed off all the Avengers stuff earlier this year. And they've been drip feeding each one. They're all going to come out at the same time, but they're learning a lot of social media rules, which is like you just want to keep your audience engaged regularly. So instead of just letting you order the entire set at once, they're making us check back in every week to give us one more. So the Hawkeye on the Sky Cycle was this week, and and then like the Black Widow's gonna be a store exclusive, and yeah, just other weird stuff. But yeah, it's fun. If you're into this stuff, it's fun. If you're not, then I just wasted 10 minutes of your life.
I like it.
Yeah. I need to add
you'll
that to that section from now on.
You'll be proud of me.
Yeah,
I
you
bought
do.
the What If Spider-Man on eBay. Because I like that costume because it's the Disneyland costume.
It's the ride, right? Yeah.
But I bought it, and I also bought a Gundam marker because that dude does not have paint lines. So that's a fun little project this weekend. I'm gonna.
I tried it once. Ian's kid has that toy now.
For the record, Ricky,
Oh.
he loves playing with it.
All right, you might get another one here soon.
I was just gonna say, if you jack it up, just send it on over.
Yeah,
that was excellently teed up. I just happened to have him right here. Yeah, good luck. I want to see it when you finish it, because I will say this though. I know it's a cheap choice that they make to not draw those lines in, but I also know that like at that scale, at that small scale, you don't get Spider-Man to look as red as he looks in the new movies with drawn lines in there. So like when you do it, he's gonna look darker than before. And so I forgive them for doing it for the movie Spiders now, because like I think he look like Tom Holland Spider-Man is a bright red. It's almost pink sometimes, you know, and I kind of like it. So it's weird when you draw a bunch of lines on something that small. It just, your eyes get tricked and it sees darkness. So good luck.
Well, hopefully we don't see darkness in this trivia. Let's tee it up.
That was possibly bad. I love it. It was so
darkness, but I was like, what?
All right, Ricky, for the next portion of this show, you are not in charge of buttons, okay? Because I gotta be all over these buttons to make sure I do these correctly.
Wow, did you clip out that image?
No, I just found it clipped because I didn't have the time to do that. I didn't feel like it. But it's great image, right? I have actually seen Karen Gillan on TikTok making fun of her pose in this and saying like, what was I thinking that day when we took that picture? Because like, who stands like that? Who does that? But yeah, it's a picture of the Guardians from the newest movie, Volume 3. I just wanted to celebrate them and celebrate something that I'd been talking with Frank about recently, and something that I forgot that he had taught Ricky and I a vocabulary word many years ago. The word is diegetic. And what it means in terms of music is it's music that is actually exists within the context of the story being told. So while we're listening to the wonderful music that James Gunn has prepared for this, or for these movies, and he actually writes his scripts listening to this music, to the music that's in the movies, the characters themselves are also listening to the music. And that's kind of one of the special things about Guardians, right? Is music so important to them in their universe, and it becomes fun, right? To the point where like it was a no-brainer that Disney made a ride out of them, and it's awesome because every time you go on the ride, you get to hear a different song, right? Like it's pretty cool. So yeah, I decided to do a trivia where you guys get to tell me what diegetic song, or each one I play, is what movie it's from. What Guardians property or Guardians related thing includes this song. So are you guys ready to do this?
Yes.
By the way, I mean, fair warning to anybody watching this not live. We may get copyright warnings and you might not be able to hear these music later. So that's your bad for missing out on the live show.
Yep. Let's hope for the best.
All right. First up, here we go.
Are we just quick?
I'm going to play it.
Going first.
Okay, we can do that. Let's let Ian go first. Ian, if you can guess the movie, you get the point. If you can't, Ricky gets a steal.
Okay.
You just have to guess the movie. Bonus points if you want to tell me the title of the song. Here we go.
Gotta let it ride out for a minute.
Oops,
Alright.
I got that on loop. Let me turn that off.
Alright.
No loop.
Well, now they're coming after you for sure.
I know, right? Oops.
Oops.
So what was that one?
Guardians 2.
Yeah.
Ricky agrees.
Yeah, there's the prison scene.
Yep.
Or
There it is.
The Ravager
That
scene.
wonderful, wonderful scene.
I was just gonna say that's actually one of probably the best scenes in the movie because Yondu just wrecks shop.
I remember
It
that was
really-
the scene they showed at Comic-Con.
Yeah, it was, huh? Yeah, when they had the
Well, that's
Ravagers
cool.
come out first. Before that, it's where Yondu kills all the Ravagers in Guardians Volume 2.
He gets
to
the
come a little bit
fin.
closer. Yes, he gets his new fin. Yondu, R.I.P. brother. Love
For
you.
real.
All right, next up. Here we go, guys. We're gonna let Ricky do this one. Ricky gets the answer first.
Cherry Bomb. That's from Guardians 1. It's Cherry Bomb, and I think it's steering. It's when they're going to Xandar, and I think when all the Nova ships are attacking. Something.
The man's right.
Yeah.
This is them walking down the hall right after they plan the heist. It's like a heist to keep Ronan's ship from touching ground on Xandar.
I own I think like two vinyl copies of the Guardians 1 soundtrack.
Yeah,
It's
an excellent soundtrack.
It's a great soundtrack. I don't know if I love 2 and 3, but Guardians 1 for what it is a very much like
You see my face right
a
now.
cinematic
Them's fighting words,
a
bro.
cinematic moment that transcends Marvel.
Them's is fighting words.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, they
Ian's turn. Ian.
are. All right. Oh, this is the holiday special. This is when they light it up for Pete, because man, that gave me Christmas goosebumps.
See, this is what I love, guys. I love how much the music of these movies touches you. Like you don't just know the movie or when. And I think that's the beautiful thing about how James Gunn does these stories. So good job. All right, Ricky's turn. I'm gonna keep it going. Here we go.
I don't know this one. I know it's not Guardians 1. It could be Guardians 3, but I'm gonna take a guess and I want to say Guardians 2 when they're at like the brothel planet, but I don't think it's that. But that would be my best guess. So I'll stick with it.
Ian for the steal.
Man, I'm kind of jumping between two potential options.
Well, if it's not 2, it's going to be 3.
So these are I just want to double check. These are all just strictly from Guardians?
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, I'm gonna say Thor: Love and Thunder. It's definitely when they're in space. They're in the ship. I see them in the cockpit.
Do you see them?
No, I do
Playing
not.
football.
I mean, that's
It's Nebula.
It's Guardians.
It's their ship.
Guardians adjacent.
I think if you say Guardians, you got to have more than one.
It's their ship. This is from the Zune.
Is one, and
this is
Nebula
from the Zune.
Is 2.
I'm saying this is from Avengers Endgame, Dear Mr. Fantasy, and it's when Tony Stark and Nebula are stranded and he's about to die from.
He doesn't have the Zune, does he?
Low oxygen. The Zune is on the ship, or they cloned his music onto his ships, so he's already got the Zune by this point. So you're no longer bound, and also James Gunn did pick this song for the movie. They still let him do all the input for all the Guardians related stuff. So, just saying.
Now, that's one thing I like about Marvel with regard to when they have their characters cross over is they usually seem to kind of bring in the person who's responsible for that corner of the universe and allow them to kind of put their spin or touch on it, or at least make sure it's like stays within the vibe of what they set out with.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And to be fair, honestly, there's an argument to be made in Ricky's favor because Iron Man is no stranger to diegetic music as well. He is frequently listening to the music that you're listening to. So, Ricky, it could be Tony Stark's playlist. Who knows? But I prefer to give credit to Nebula for having lived with the Guardians at this point for a while. I'm going to give it to her. All right. Is this
Ian's
neither of you got it right. So yeah, it's Ian's turn.
It's open for you.
It's Ian's turn. Okay, here we go.
Oh.
Guardians 1?
Infinity War.
Prison?
It's the first shot of them in Infinity War.
Oh yeah, when they're in space. That's the cockpit. That's the cockpit.
I like the Rubber Band Man a lot. So I do like that song.
And
no, by the way, that's because Gamora is singing in this scene, right?
I need to re-clarify. I misspoke earlier. I know it's confirmed that James Gunn chose the Rubber Band Man for this movie. I'm gonna assume that he helped, because he's also executive producer on both movies. I'm gonna assume he helped with the choice of music in that one as well. But yes, it's the Rubber Band Man from Avengers Infinity War is the song. And good job, Ricky. That's awesome. You're now kicking the crap out of Ian.
Yeah, I like that scene because that's when they're all singing and
it's
one of those moments.
Drax is asleep.
Yeah, but it's one of those moments that you realize that how much ingrained the music is in Guardians, just their day to day.
Yeah. All right. So it's Ricky. It's Ricky for the final one.
Ricky.
Here we go.
It's when Yondu dies in Guardians 2.
Guys, you don't know what it takes for me to not cry even thinking about this scene. Like, I had to, I had to do a lot of things. I had to watch a lot of stuff this week to do this trivia for you guys, and I had to go and grab these clips, and I swear to God, every time I watched this thing, I wanted to cry just for the seconds, just for the few seconds that I was looking at it. And yes, Ricky got it for the win. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Father and Son. Man, that one hurts me. I love it. I think it's the most beautiful thing that has happened in those movies until the new ones.
Yeah. Good job, Ricky.
Good job. Does that make you to start?
Yeah, you can do it. You're the host, so I was just gonna let you decide when.
Yeah, this is that part of the show where we talk about Guardians 3. I realized I did not prepare a summary for Guardians 3.
Oh, now you're gonna have to go off the top of your head. Let's see.
But I guess we'll just throw the spoiler warning out ahead before we get into the discussion. We will be talking about everything and anything regarding Guardians 3. From the top of my brain, this is a story about Rocket and his origins. We see him get injured by the one and only Adam Warlock at the beginning of the film, and it's a race to save Rocket's life that leads the Guardians in direct conflict to the High Evolutionary. How's that?
That's pretty good, man.
Pretty good. That was pretty good, Ricky.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, you could add that it's kind of revealed that we've been building up to the High Evolutionary for 3 movies now, and it's this movie actually serves as this awesome conclusion to what has technically always really been Rocket's story, right? And so
Yeah.
so it kind of refocuses more on being about him and everyone's relationship to him, and including the High Evolutionary, which he is briefly implied in the first movie, and you find out that he is also the creator of the Sovereign in the second movie. So it's all been building to this, and it's really cool. And I think the awesome thing about it is, like, I saw an interview with Bradley Cooper, and apparently this was always what he pitched to Bradley Cooper, like that this was what was going to happen if he got the chance to do it.
That's
You
cool.
know what I mean? If he was given three movies to do it, this is the story he was going to tell. And so, bravo,
So Bradley
man.
Cooper was like, so wait, I get to like start off as like one of the crew and then like become the main focus of the franchise. Okay, yeah, no, I'm in. Sign.
Yeah,
Yeah, like,
Like,
well,
just
that
why not?
explains
Why
things,
wouldn't
right?
you? Yeah.
That explains things. Why they got Bradley Cooper to do
Yeah.
this, right?
like, what do you think Rocket is? 3? Because he's not doing the mocap; he's just doing the voice. 3
No,
weeks
Sean
of
Gunn
work,
does the mocap.
2 weeks of work.
I don't think he's even a week of work, man.
No, he's probably put into
He comes in at
three
the
days.
end. He comes in after. So that's the cool thing, right? Is Bradley Cooper gets to react to their performances. Like, he's got the easy gig, right? He just gets to watch their movie like once or twice, the reel, and then I'm in no way speaking for Bradley Cooper, by the way. I don't know what the process is. Like, yes, it's weeks, it's months, it's months of work.
No, but they usually, I mean, you're right. Like they usually have it playing like in the sound booth when they're voicing over it, and he's watching the at least mostly produced movie at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe not all the effects are there, but he's got enough to work off of. He's seeing the other actors' performances, and he's able to build off that. Whereas, the other actors are doing that on set.
He's basically the last tester, right?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much.
He's the last guy that tests the game before it goes out. Now, yeah, I loved it. What do you got? What do you got,
movie.
Ricky?
Yeah, I mean, where do we even begin? I just need to get a read of the room. I'm guessing we're all positive, but why are we positive, Ian? What made you giggle in this movie? What made you?
It was fantastic. I mean, if you know me, I'm a space guy, big space nerd. So anything that takes place off of this planet is something I'm into. I like spending time in movies on spaceships and flying around doing cool stuff, and they did that. But not only that, but it hit, like, we've seen these characters for a couple movies and a special, and we've gotten to really grow with their family, and this movie hit all of those points. Every character got to shine. Every character got, like, quality moments, and the soundtrack was pure James Gunn, which I'm just gonna go out and say it. I am the mark for the James Gunn trademark brand of what he's dropping. Like, I have been watching his movies since he was with Troma, and I have liked his brand. Some.
Yeah, I fully agree. I can't like it, like what Ricky was saying earlier is, like, I don't know if I was the audience for the holiday special. I've been the audience every single time for everything James Gunn does. And, like, yeah, so when you say, like, was it generally positive for all of us? Positive doesn't even begin to describe my appreciation of this movie. Like, I think this movie is honestly cemented as making Guardians probably the best superhero trilogy, in my opinion. Like,
wow,
because there is that progression and that consistency.
We gotta back up that hot take.
I don't think it's a hot take.
I don't think it's a hot take. I think I agree with. Like,
I think it's a hot take on the internet. Just to clarify, superhero film, including DC.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said trilogy.
Trilogy.
I said trilogy.
So there's a Batman under that.
You gonna tell me Dark Knight Rises is better than these three?
I'm not going to tell you, but I just want your words to be very clear for the people on the internet
I'm
that listen to
saying
our show.
that we can all agree. Like I love Batman, the Dark Knight movies, the Chris Nolan movies. I love them, and before this, they were my favorite. But I gotta give credit where credit's due. I think this was a more satisfying conclusion than we got. Like I think let's if we had to rewind back to when Dark Knight Rises came out, that was a divisive conclusion. People were on the fence about whether or not they should like it and stuff. And so I'm just saying, all I've seen on the internet for this last week since we watched this movie is love and emotion, because everybody felt the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, and that's a really cool thing to do, is to make everybody come away from your trilogy with such an extreme sense of joy and emotion. And that's not what we got with that Dark Knight trilogy. Like, the Dark Knight probably one of the greatest superhero movies ever made? Yeah. Like, really hard to argue that, But I'm just saying, Batman Begins to Dark Knight Rises does not have the same flow as these three movies.
No,
my take won't be as spicy as Dennis's, because I don't know if I want that smoke. But I will say this is this generation's Star Wars. It is very much.
It's always been that.
Its own iconic thing.
Dude, it was my Star Wars. When I saw it when I saw the first one, I was like, why was that a better Star Wars movie than anything we've got in the last 20 years? Like, that's what 100%. I said when I saw the first one. Wow. So yeah, I don't think that's a hot take either. I don't think either of our takes are hot takes.
I don't think they are.
I think they just make perfect sense. Best trilogy. And
I'd feel more comfortable putting that hot take on Reddit than your hot take on Reddit.
I don't think Dennis's is that hot of a take. I think I agree in respect of, like, the differences with Guardians is that it has down, hard emotional moments, but it has uplifting, joyful, happy, funny moments. You don't get that in any of the Dark Knight.
There's not a lot of joy.
There's not a lot of joy in those movies. So just the fact that you can have good and smile here and there elevates it to just in general fun experience. It's got all of the touch points.
There's also not a lot of color in those movies too, right?
No, there's not.
There's a lot of dark. Like, the Joker's pretty much the brightest thing in that entire trilogy, right? Like, and that's sad because he's a sadistic psychopath, like it's
I think that's one of the James Gunn isms that I do enjoy. He's not afraid to get weird, and when he gets weird, it's not weird for being weird. It's not weird just to be weird. It's weird, but with somewhat of a purpose. And then to that point, even further, he can do the highest of highs with the lowest of lows, and find the nuance in between. This movie covers some pretty dark stuff. You're getting with some animal torture, porn, like straight up cruelty.
Yeah.
And then he finds levity in it. And I don't think all the jokes hit for me in this one, but you had more wins than losses in that department. And, it's a solid movie in the end because of it.
I will say, like, the thing, like, I don't know, the jokes always hit for me with the James Gunn story, but like, I will say that you mentioned the animal cruelty stuff. Like, I will say, if I had a single true nitpick, I have a nerd nitpick for this movie also, but if I had a real nitpick for this movie, I would say that the animal angle, like, my wife and I talked about this and we both agreed, like, it's a bit manipulative. It made it so we never had a chance of, like,
it's a cheap angle.
It's like it's killing the dog in John Wick, right? Like, that's what it is. Like, you're like, well, okay, I guess this justifies everything. And so, it's hard, like, they tried to make it look like the stuff High Evolutionary was doing was very horrific and stuff, but, like, on the same token, like, animal testing is a thing, and I know, like, I don't think what he was doing was,
No.
legal testing. But I'm just saying, like,
It's a cheap angle, but I think the Rocket story is strong enough to overcome it.
Yeah.
There's the dynamic between him and Teefs and Floor and Lila. Even, I mean, because they're only really on screen for 5 minutes, if that. Like, you get so much connection and friendship and emotion out of their little arc that
I feel like they're
when
on their movie more than 5 minutes.
it's less than
probably
10.
more.
15.
Yeah, probably 15-ish.
About
They're
5
in some
minutes
pretty
per
slow
scene.
scenes. There's some pretty
But-
slow, like nice scenes where everybody's kind of just chilling out and stuff. And
When they
3 to
meet
5
their
minutes per
demise, there's enough character
Yeah.
moment built up until that point
for sure,
where it
Yeah.
really does punch you in the gut.
yeah,
That singular scream and there's no music was
Oh man,
chef's kiss in the,
Sure was.
in the torture department.
Yeah,
it.
it was hard. It's hard.
And he just used like a gun, right? Like just straight
Yeah,
up.
Yeah,
Like,
he-
gun.
Yeah, he didn't know
Yeah.
nothing like uber,
No
super
fancy.
It
ability.
was
He
nothing
just- no, he was
fancy,
just
and
like-
then he did it, and then he just starts calling the cleanup crew. Like he's not
Yeah.
even phased about it. He's like, all right, we gotta get the janitor here now. Like utter disdain for the animals.
Oh, yeah.
The actor who plays the High Evolutionary, Chukwuru Iwuji, I've heard in interviews he allows people to just call him Chuck. So I'm gonna assume I have that allowed.
That's
to
the
me as well.
shot at Comic-Con when they showed it. We all knew we were getting fucked up at this movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
that raccoon right there.
That's what they opened with.
But my man who played the High Evolutionary, he also played Myrn in Peacemaker. They filmed these back to back, right? James Gunn filmed
Mhm.
Peacemaker and this. I don't remember which one he filmed first, but I think he filmed Guardians first, right?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Peacemaker.
Was it? Okay, fair enough. In any case, oh my god, that actor just played the hell out of that villain. He was so good at it. Like I felt like, yeah, I got his motivation. I don't think it needs to be relatable. It's definitely a motivation that a lot of like evil like corporations and stuff have, is to reshape the world in their image and stuff. It was a very understandable motive, but I think the simplicity of it just made it so fun to just hate him. There is
Yeah.
nothing redeemable about that human being. Like he was terrible, and I was all for it because it's like
100%.
sometimes you just want those villains.
You
know what
want
I mean?
you want
Like,
the. I mean, we talked about it with Mando, right? Even though season 3 of Mando was iffy, Moff Gideon's just a straight up mustache twirling
that's all he is, and
bad guy.
and yeah,
Sometimes you need that, in the MCU where you have gods with the motives or higher moral
yeah.
villains. To just have someone that's straight up just bad is kind of a nice little change of pace.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
that I think they've earned it though, right? Because like if you think about the complexity of the villains that they had to deal with before this, let them have a break and let them as a team just fight a straight up animal Hitler. You know what I mean? Like let them, because think about it. Like the first movie was basically Peter coming together with the team, but like in direct opposition with Yondu, right? Who was like the guy who raised him. And then, I mean, yeah, there was Ronan too, which was just to set up the Infinity War and all that stuff. But Ronan was still like this very complex, like religious zealot kind of guy. Like you could understand, like from his perspective, that he thinks what he's doing is righteous. You know what I mean? But then like the second movie, it's Ego, right? Which is Peter's father, and like that's a complex movie, which ends with, like we mentioned earlier, with Yondu dying. So like it's a lot of emotion going into these boss fights. You know what I mean? Like so. Yeah, man. Let's just have the guy that made Rocket into Rocket with superpower. That guy's got superpowers, by the way. He's like just got gravity manipulation for the hell of it, just to make him super dangerous. And I think that's what made him awesome, is because he was straight up evil, And somehow am I the only one that kept wondering which one was going to die? Like they kept wondering which Guardian wasn't going to make it to the end of the movie.
Oh no, you're not the only one at all. I
you've got to
walked
get with
into the theater just sitting there taking a tally in my head of like, who am I not gonna walk out like with anymore? Who am I gonna walk out of that theater with?
When Drax took the chest wound, did you kind of wonder?
I very much did wonder. I thought no, it's not gonna be right now. It's too
that's
early.
one of my gripes. So
no,
they played that card 3-4 times in that movie.
But I think that's cool because I think like I don't think it's a card. I think it's an important thing is that like the problem with a lot of storytelling is people see it as a card that has to be played where someone has to die in order for the rest of the characters to grow and move forward. And it becomes a trope, and it's a trope of James Gunn's, honestly. Like he does it a lot. And so I think it was kind of earned and kind of like joyful that like every time you thought somebody important was going to die in this movie, he said nah, because if you saw the trailer for this movie a few months ago, it said it's time for their happy ending. And I just thought it was so cool that this movie did not lie to me and never actually robbed me of a happy ending, right? Like
I was ready for one to die, and I wanted one to die.
I think I agree. And the thing
that's why you're bitter, because you wanted one to die, you psycho.
Yeah.
If you get, it's like roulette, right? And you hit black 4 times in a row. Like you needed to switch over to red at some point. Like it's
hey, you play Marvel Snap, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed there's an overarching theme across all the Guardians characters?
If they play something, you get points, right?
If you guess correctly where your opponent is placing their card, they benefit from it, right? The Guardians are all about luck. That's all they got, dude. They're stupid. All of them are stupid. Rocket's the smartest one among them.
Luck is a construct.
They specifically mentioned several times in this film how like Peter never really has a plan to get out of things or to, I mean, how like he was like, you came onto the ship to get me? Why? Like, and it's because he never has a plan. It's always luck.
Yeah, Rocket's intellect was really remarkable in this film, though. Like,
Rocket's what?
Like his intellect and showing how truly smart he is. With his younger age, breaking down the High Evolutionary's machine and
he just doesn't talk words good. That's all. But like he's always been that way, right? He doesn't he doesn't have a good use of English, probably because like that part of his brain, like it doesn't make sense for a raccoon to be at.
I mean, he helped Tony Stark build the gauntlet, right?
Exactly. The time machine. He helped build the time machine.
Yeah,
and the gauntlet. Yes, both.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like he's a
Rocket's
genius.
crucial.
Like, but he does have gaps, right? There are places in his overall emotional intelligence that are not good. And I think it's cool. It's cool that I'm glad that you're acknowledging that Rocket's the smartest one among them, because I think we had an argument when we talked about the holiday special, is that you thought that Drax is getting dumber in every movie.
I think he did get a little dumber.
I don't think he did. And you know why I know? Because I just watched every movie ever with Drax in it this week. And when I mean this week, I mean in the last 3 days. And it turns out Drax is a freaking idiot in the first movie. Super idiot. Big idiot who his plan to kill Ronan is call Ronan on the phone and tell him where the Infinity Stone is. And he sits there waiting for Ronan. That's it. That's his grand plan, and then he almost dies because of that plan. Like
that shot of him like waiting for the ships to come in, and he's like with the knives just waiting for
Drax
it.
has always been the biggest idiot in certain ways, right? Like but I think what you've observed is Drax has become happier every story we get, and I have no problem with that, because the day he met Mantis is the day he stopped really mourning his family. You know what I mean? Like, and Mantis has made Drax so much better every time. So I'll
concede to that point where maybe I don't enjoy the writing of Drax, because the humor around him. Here's the script, right? Drax says something stupid. Star-Lord says, "Dude, that's so stupid." And then as a rebuttal, Drax will say something even more stupid, thinking he sounds smarter. And then that's the joke. And you rinse and repeat for 2 hours. And that and I don't
That was pretty good. That was
I don't
actually
find it it's funny once, it's funny maybe twice. I mean, they kind of use that same joke system. It's a James Gunn thing he does in Peacemaker too with Vigilante. And for me, it just doesn't hit every single time. Maybe you try something
Fair
else.
enough.
I think where it did hit was the F-bomb, because he does the same play with Nebula, like, how do I open this door? Like, you just push the button, and then they drop the, open the fucking door. Like, that's hilarious, because that's unexpected. But, to see that same joke recipe played out and used on Drax constantly, it's like, what are you doing, dude? Like what? He just comes off as dumb eventually.
Yes, but that's the whole point of this movie, right? Is at there's a certain point in the moment where he realizes that they all think he's dumb, right? And then there's another beautiful moment later where you realize just because he's dumb at some things doesn't mean he's like the man you need for the job at these other things.
Yeah.
And I think that's all of them. I think that's all the Guardians. They're all stupid in different ways. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what makes them such a lovable
That was a nice
crew.
little moment when, why didn't you tell us you speak this?
You didn't ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that little moment to see him be a dad.
Yeah, no, I 100%. That was the best. That was the best, like, most satisfying arc in the film for me was when Nebula said that he wasn't supposed to be a destroyer. He was supposed to be a dad. I was like, okay, no, it's cool. We're good here. Go, yeah, all right, we're good here. Go Drax. It was all the dad feels for this movie. I mean, just across the board, there was a lot of really emotional moments, but that was to me was one of the best payoffs was seeing Drax be who he should have been. Like, it was really cool, really cool. He got a family, and he found it. You got to see him with kids. You got to see who he was meant to be before Thanos took that from him. And it was just one of those. If you've watched these characters, you've liked these characters, you've invested in them, there was a payoff, and it was a warm, fuzzy hug payoff, not just like oh, we have to check this box. It was like, let me just wrap you in this blanket. It was great. It was great.
That's why I don't think it's a hot take that it's the best trilogy, right?
I don't think it is.
Well, let me throw some more at you real quick.
Best superhero trilogy. It's not better than Star Wars.
Yeah. Did Adam Warlock, his 3-year wait, did that pay off for you guys?
I'll let Ian go first.
Not really. I mean, I like Will Poulter. I thought he was good in the character. I thought what they did with him worked, but I don't necessarily feel like. And I actually read that James Gunn said one of the hardest things to kind of fit into the film was Adam Warlock, but he had kind of painted himself into a corner by setting it up. I feel like the way that they added him worked. I felt like it was okay, but I don't feel like he necessarily needed to be there. They could have had.
He was kind of a farce
in another way. Yeah. that they could have used that time to spend with the Guardians a little more, which I would have been totally okay with. That said, I can see a place in the MCU for this character to grow and do.
He's a Guardian now, so
yeah.
By the way, sorry, I just wanted to point out, like, Ian was saying how, like, James Gunn painted himself into a corner by, teeing up an Adam Warlock at the end of the last one. You know what's funny about that is, like, we could see it as painted himself into a corner, or we could see it as, like, promised the fans to deliver something,
right.
Because let's just, as a reminder for comparison's sake, I watched a movie called Shazam, and at the end of Shazam, I got teed up for a freaking Mr. Mind. And then, you know what? I went and saw the sequel to Shazam, and there was no Mr. Mind until the freaking post-credits scene.
This movie made more in one day than Shazam made in its entire run.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so when we say we, painted himself in a corner, I prefer to look at it the opposite now. Nowadays, that should be par for the course, right? Is you tease something, and then you're like, okay, I committed to it. You know what I mean? Like,
No, he
So-
delivered. He
the reason
delivered,
I
and he
asked-
didn't deliver in a bad way. I
Yeah.
just think like it's one of those where knowing how big of an impact Adam Warlock has on some comic storylines and things, I know there's a place for him in the MCU, and I'm glad that it started here. I just feel like I think that they have potential to do more if anybody cares to do more with him. If
That's
they
what I'm
don't,
getting at.
then he fits fine where they left him.
Because like I feel like in the grand Marvel ethos, he's an A player. Is that a
no?
no?
See, that's the thing.
Well,
It's like
he's an A player in the Thanos Infinity Stone
no.
storyline.
You know what he is? He's their Doctor Exposition. He is. He was a character that was entirely created just to explain to the reader what's going on with the Infinity Stones through the original Infinity Gauntlet story. So he's the one that has to go to the Avengers and say, "You must assemble all together because we have to fight this threat." And it's like, it works for a comic in the 1990s or like early 90s or late 80s, whatever. It works then, but honestly, like just like every character that when I go and read a Guardians book, Adam Warlock kind of sucks, bro. Like he's just not. He's like he's just really undefined. You know what I mean? And so, if the bait you were trying to ask is like, did he disappoint comic fans? At this point, like if comic fans of the Guardians are still upset about what's going on with these movies, just why are you still watching? Like why? Like don't watch. But I don't know any comic fans that are actually upset at what's going on in these movies. So Adam Warlock is just another notch on the post. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they did him different. I don't care. Did he serve the story really well? Yeah, I think he did. I think he
played his role.
He was a blunt instrument that was just meant to hurt the crap out of the Guardians, and then as a bonus at the end, he had a heart. Like
grow to be to be a part of the group.
Yeah.
Were there any misses in this movie or nitpicks for you guys?
No.
I have one nerd one that's not Adam Warlock because
is it Teefs?
No, it's not Teefs.
Oh.
Okay, just was curious.
Oh, you thought it was a wheelchair related one?
No. I was actually going. Sorry, it's specific to his name. He's Walrus in the comics and Teefs.
Oh yeah. These are all characters from the comics, which is like mind blowing. It's always so cool to find out because I cannot tolerate reading these books very often. But sometimes I have to look up and find out, and I'm like, wow, that's exactly what they look like in the comics. That's great.
No, they were very on point.
Now, I can tell you right now what my one nitpick is, my one nerd nitpick. It's clearly visible on this screen right here that we're looking at.
Is it? Are we on the same one?
So here's the cool thing about this movie. They finally got Star-Lord in the costume.
Oh, it is the same one.
Not only did they get Star-Lord in the costume, they got everybody in Star-Lord's costume minus Groot, which was even cooler, right? Like it's the most comic accurate Star-Lord costume we've ever gotten. And unless you count, I mean, technically from Guardians 1 it is too, but like they kind of like base the movie off of...
it evokes Rocket's costume in Endgame.
Yeah.
Sure, a little bit. Yeah.
Similar costume, but with the scarf without the logo.
Yeah. I guess so. Yeah, but so this is the legit classic Star-Lord Annihilation.
Annihilation.
Yeah, Annihilation storyline comic. I mean, there's a lot of comics in the 2000s with this costume. I say classic, but it's just like Star-Lord's not like a character that's had a lot of stories.
Right.
Anyways, perfect costume. Where's the freaking helmet?
Yep.
Where is the helmet through the entire movie? He never wears the helmet. And I know that James Gunn had to go on Twitter and explain that the climax of the movie is because he was in such a rush to go back for Rocket that he left the helmet. But we saw in the first movie how small the helmet is. It's like
But
it's an earpiece that he just wears, and he gives it to Gamora to save her life in the first movie.
But didn't
Like-
it get destroyed in?
In Guardians
Well,
2,
No, he
Yeah?
actually has it. He still has it.
but he has another one in Infinity
okay.
War. So
Okay,
Yeah,
I thought it was
yeah. No,
destroyed in.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, he's fully wearing one in
Yeah,
Endgame.
no, you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. He is wearing it in Endgame.
I would have taken the helmet. I would have loved to have the full on like comic helmet, but that was my. I mean, that was number one on the nitpick list for me. Number two in the same column would be I wanted Gamora in the white suit. I thought we were gonna get it when she popped up with the Ravengers or like made a quick costume change. I feel like that's a pretty iconic Gamora suit, and it's like, I was kind of bummed.
Yeah,
like,
but what's weird is that's also a Guardian suit. It's all of them. So like it would have been nice if they all wore it. It's just the suit Gamora just keeps wearing all the time. I feel you, but I don't mind the absence of that suit just because Zoe Saldana's always kind of like just been wearing better, like more appropriate Gamora outfits than what she is in the comics. All of Gamora's outfits in the comics are way too sexy. Like way
the white suit's full covered.
Yeah, but
it's pretty
very
sexy though too.
Yeah.
Come on,
it's
come on.
It's shapely.
Like, yeah, it's shapely, and so like I really dig that they, she clearly. I feel like she had input, like because if you go look at the original Gamora outfit from the comics, you thought Moondragon was bad. Just wow.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, but to
Oh,
that
there
point,
it
I know
is.
Marvel. I feel is really good about giving us people in the costume, even if it's for a split second. So just to like, it's there.
True,
You just need the thing.
But so it's not. But just to be clear, though, it's not just that Marvel gives us the costume; it's they give us the full package. So, like in theory, like that was the final form of Peter Quill, right? At least a final form is that Peter Quill had become he had become a person clear with purpose. He had become the Star-Lord, right? And so, like, I wouldn't want Gamora, who was at this time in the story not even really like one of them. Like, I wouldn't want her to put on the Gamora suit. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. It's not the appropriate place for it. Is it likely that we'll ever get it? I don't know, because I don't think Zoe Saldana really wants to keep doing that. But I never say never. You know what I mean? Like,
I just don't think it would have, like you said, I just don't think it would have fit when they all come out wearing this and this outfit and let me just be honest, that outfit is fire. It's very cool looking.
It's very cool, man.
When they all come
make
rolling
you
out,
want to see X-Men with costumes like this?
Yes, it does.
See them in that
it looks
suit.
good. It looks good.
Yeah.
And if she had just come out suddenly wearing the white suit, it really just would have been like. It would have,
what are you wearing?
To me, it would have felt like a checkbox. It would have been like, why did we do this? We did it because we had to put her in that suit, and it wouldn't have necessarily fit very well.
Like to see them in the suit, specifically in the hallway scene, that long cut where they're each doing their own specific guardianisms.
The Beastie Boys.
Gamora uses a sword. Star-Lord uses a gun. Drax uses. He has his knives, which he never uses. Like, it was a nice little.
Wait, you said Drax never uses his knives?
He rarely uses his knives.
He kills the crap out of a monster in Endgame with those knives.
He rarely uses the knives.
It's like he's only in Endgame for like 5 minutes, and he uses knives repeatedly.
Rarely uses the knives.
Rarely uses the knives. I think you mean he didn't use the knives in the second movie, which he did actually against the obelisk. In the beginning. He uses the knives in every movie.
Being completely ineffective.
Every movie he uses the knives. What are you talking about?
Rarely.
I don't think he used them in the holiday special.
Okay, fair enough. And nobody used guns in the holiday special either.
So before we get into the hallway scene, because I know that was just peak movie. Ricky had mentioned earlier the music in this movie, and then we just mentioned the Beastie Boys playing over that sequence. And I gotta ask Ricky, what was your opinion, or what were you thinking on this the music in the film? Because I actually at one point in the film leaned over to my wife and was like, "It's like they pulled my Spotify playlist. Every song hit for me. Every single song in the movie hit for me." So I gotta ask, what was it?
90% of it hit. I don't think, like, specifically with that hallway scene, great scene, and the music just like cuts abruptly, and it's like the weirdest. It's like you're watching. It's like a very Zack Snyder-esque thing where it's almost a music video at a certain point.
But it cut because they killed the last guy.
Did you guys all watch it in 3D?
No.
4DX, yes.
Wasn't it violent? Wasn't it like throwing you around?
Yes, it was.
The 3D incredible. Was so amazing in that scene. It was so good.
Yeah. But I really like that. I like when they play Reasons and the weird company scene when they're all floating in the air. That was great.
Because I mean, you start the movie with Rocket singing Radiohead, which I'm gonna
Creep.
admit,
Oh
I'm
my
a huge
God.
Radiohead fan. So let me just put that out there. That was gonna hit no matter what. But you had Rocket singing it of all the characters. It just
missed the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Oh,
what? Okay, we're done.
I walked in the theater right when they introduced Nebula.
We're done with your opinion of this movie now. You just validated everything.
Moving on.
If you didn't start watching this movie with Rocket listening to Creep, and not only listening to it, but putting it on blast so that all of Nowhere is now listening to Creep. Oh my God. And that again, the diegetic thing that's, that Frank really loves to talk about. I thought it was so cool that the movie went to the trouble of showing you that they have rigged Nowhere so that the speakers all feed from the one Zune.
I mean, more than they made that thing a spaceship.
They even did that, like, so they did that in the holiday special with that Smashing Pumpkins song you played,
right?
So you knew, like, Peter came out and the music was pumping across all of Nowhere, and then this movie, they're like, here, we're gonna pay off that, and we're gonna build on it, and when Rocket goes in to check on Peter, like the way of muffled, it was just so good. It was just so good.
Yeah, it actually made the holiday special matter, right? But but more importantly, I think it's really cool to like between the two things to get this realization that the Guardians, like their love of music and the music that they have, like they want to share it with all of their citizens of this new world that they're creating. And I don't know if it's just sharing or if it's forcing it upon all of them, but but everybody in Nowhere has to listen to the same music at the same time, and it cracks me up, man.
Annex Nowhere.
What's great is that, again, it's another holiday special payoff is that there's the band trying to learn, music, and then everybody's stopping and kind of looking at what is this curiosity, and now you jump ahead a little bit, and all of Nowhere is just enjoying music. It's part of their thing now. They're not like, they're a community, and they're built around like this love of just let's have like music, whatever. Like, it's great. It really, that scene was incredible. Like the way that they started the film, I thought.
Yeah. Boo to Ricky for missing that.
Boo to Ricky, but they dropped, like, now again another one of the personal.
Wait, that means Ricky also missed the flashback?
Yep.
Oh my God. Ricky, you're insane. Please take a moment to explain why you were late for this movie.
Well, I saw it right after work, so it was a stretch to get there, and then I made the conscious decision to I gotta get popcorn, and
that popcorn.
I picked the shortest line, and it was like the worst of people to be stuck behind. So it was, and you know what? I didn't end up getting popcorn because of it, because I'm like, this sucks. The person in front of me was just terrible at ordering and kept on ordering more shit. And I was like, I gotta go in, and so
the funny thing for me about I'm just so sad for you, by the way. The funny thing for me about like what really satisfied me about this movie is I try to get to a movie as close to the moment before the movie starts, because I don't want to see all these trailers. So I try to get there intentionally late, but not too late, like Ricky. But this one, it was because it was 40X. I wanted to make sure I was properly seated and secured in that motion ride. So we had to get there before the lights turned out. So, we got there early. I had to watch a bunch of trailers, right?
There was
And
a lot.
I was kind of zoning out from all the trailers. But the thing is when they hit play on that music, I suddenly woke up and I said, yes, I'm in a James Gunn movie, because this music is going to matter right now to this scene. And you don't always get that with every movie. Sometimes music's just playing because it's music that they chose, but it mattered to the scene and it set the tone for the rest of the movie. And so like
100%.
I really recommend you go watch that movie again, because like the second that started, I just forgot all the crap that I had to put up with to watch this movie.
It was the James. Some people like what he does with music, some people don't. But to me, like, it was the quintessential. It was the perfect choice of a song for Rocket, and to start Rocket's story. It was just like you said, the diegetic aspect of it it set off the tone of the entire film. And then there was so many other, like, you had Space Hog, like you had Flaming Lips, Do You Realize, which I sang to both of my boys when they were like babies. So like legit was like, oh, you hit this song of all this? Okay. You had the Beastie Boys, which is always a great hit. You had
Florence and the Machine.
You had it was just every scene. There was just like like I said, it was you had some classic Faith No More, which was pre Mike Patton, which really got me. But like I said, it was pulling from my Spotify list. Every single song that was in that is songs that I listen to quite frequently. So it was the fact that they were able to take songs that are already kind of, I have a connection to, and then wrap them into the story and the emotion on all these characters that I already love, was just like 100%. It was just, these things worked so well for me that it just made me that movie started at a 9 out of 10 and just went upwards from there.
Same. I couldn't. I was, the second it started, I was like, all right, well, you got me. You got me.
Is that Tom York singing?
I'm good to go. Here we go. I will say that I'm curious which song hit the most, because like I for Ricky is really what I'm curious about, because I know a lot of these songs were older, but I'm curious if it's the more recent ones that it hit for you, or.
Well, I liked a lot of the songs on their own. I just don't know if I love them for the scene they're in. But I will say, Hearing Reasons, great song. I just remember it just takes me back to listening to music at my grandmother's house. That was just on the radio on repeat 24/7. So that just always brings back a very special memory when I hear that song in general. But I think that's the main takeaway for me, is like, I liked all the songs. It's cool to hear them being played, but to hear them in the specific scenes they were chosen for, I don't know if those are necessarily the top picks. I think you could have gotten something a little bit more direct, or a little more left field, or I don't know. I don't know what I would want from you.
For me, like, this movie, the entire soundtrack was the promise fulfilled of the Zune. When he got that Zune, I was like, exactly. Oh my God, now he doesn't have to listen just one decade, like he can listen to all the decades, but they've been toying with us for the Avengers movies and stuff. Like, the Avengers movies still played music of a certain time off of the Zune. Even the Cat Stevens song that he listens to, you could imagine that could have been a song that his mom put on the mix list for him. So like, to finally hear like Creep or Florence and the Machine, like, the dog days are over at the end of that movie. So good. I still don't know how I didn't cry.
Like, maybe
I never cried in this movie, by the way, guys. I don't know why. I almost did, But it wasn't until the movie was over that I asked my wife how she did, and she's like, I cried through the whole movie. And I was like, I didn't even notice that because I was just like, I was almost there many times.
It might just be
There
that
was a few for
to
me.
the same vein of like the animal torture, where it's kind of I don't say a cheap shot, but it's low hanging fruit in terms of getting an emotional response by picking the Beastie Boys or Creep. I think those are just like, how many times have Beastie Boys appeared in a very similar scene in an action movie?
I
You
will.
know,
I mean, I don't hear it often, but I didn't go see the Mario Brothers movie.
Star Trek Into Darkness. Or
Okay, so that's 2 movies I've seen.
we can. I mean, but you get what I'm saying. That you're picking songs that are guaranteed hits, as opposed to where Guardians 1 were like Redbone was charting. Like he brought that song back from the grave.
Oh, no,
I got a
right.
feeling.
I get it.
He brought these great songs
Back to the forefront.
Fair
back
enough.
to the forefront versus taking already songs that are already like Creep's a classic.
But here's the,
but I think
here's
the
the
reason
difference
is that because they're newer, they're more fresh, they're more there's already a connection to them.
Yeah, that's the difference, right? Is the songs from the first 2 mixtapes are from his mom. Those are supposed to have an actual connection. They mean something. Each song she put on that album means something to him. But there is supposed to be a bit of arbitrariness to the Zune when they're like, yeah, it's got like 300 songs. When you're loading up something with 300 songs, it's no longer the same level of care and investment as when you put like 12 songs on a tape, or 8 songs or whatever. Yeah. And so I actually really like that the Zune, like, this is what I wanted from the Zune, right? I wanted him to find somebody's random iPod or whatever that just has all this music, but because they have so little access to, Earth music, this is what they get. And hopefully it's good. And you know what? They were bangers, man. They were bangers. And the best part about it is, unlike the first 2 albums where Peter is all tied up in those songs, right? Like those songs, he's giving those songs to the Guardians, right? But make no mistake, every time they experience those songs, they got to experience his baggage with them, right? Like he's got to explain what these songs mean to them and stuff like that. But the cool thing about the Zune is they're all getting to form their own opinions of the music at the same time, right? And I think
they're
that's
discovering it together.
Yeah, they're all discovering this music together, and so they can put meaning on it in their own way, right? It's not forced upon them by somebody else. So like that's what I loved about this, is that we got to have bangers, but they got to take something more out of those bangers. You know what I mean? I love that Phyla is like, when she's asked, off the top of her dome to come up with like the 2 best like performers, she's like Britney Spears and Korn, and Rocket's like good choices. And you know what? Like if you're that far removed from music,
but I would have rather heard
those
Britney
are good choices.
Korn,
those are good choices. You know what I mean?
Than just her saying Britney Spears. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
but we can.
I don't know. Like I have to disagree only because, like I said, literally every single song that hit was something that hit for me. It was just something where I was just like, oh yes, here we go. Let's do a hallway scene to some Beastie Boys. I'm in. Let's do some Space Hog while we fly through space into the weirdest organic thing I've ever seen. Like, get weird with it, James Gunn. Get weird with it, because I'm going to nod my head to this song I love, and I'm going to do this. Yeah, here we go. We're doing space stuff.
It's true. Yeah.
And it's going to be amazing.
I felt like this movie was a celebration of all the stuff from before, right? And so I was allowing them the party because I was there for the party too. It's in the same way that like I went to see Spider-Man No Way Home after years of a pandemic that kept us mostly out of theaters, right? And we went there. There was a lot of sadness, a lot of death in this country and this planet for 2 years at that time. We went and saw this movie that was about like death, and accepting, like the real suckiness of life, and
Letting
everybody
go.
collectively cries in that movie, right? And it's because we all went through something, and this was our catharsis, this was our therapy. Well, guess what? Here we are a year freaking later, and we need to be a little happier, right? Because we're still here, we're all alive, and this Guardians movie was just the perfect like injection of joy. Like, and that's why I don't mind every time they made you think somebody was gonna die. I'm like, please don't. And like, dude, I promise you, every time I watch a Spider-Man movie, I'm not like, but I hope he dies, except for that one time where I really was rooting for him to die. But you know what I mean? Like, I like most of the time, I think, like, I've seen this comparison a lot lately, but raise your hand if you ever thought any of them were going to die in Ant-Man Quantumania. Really? You thought that? I didn't think that of any
No,
of them.
I didn't feel there was. I didn't feel. I enjoyed that film a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't feel that. I didn't feel worried for anybody. From the
Yeah.
very first scene of this film to the end, I was worried we were going to lose somebody, and the fact that
Yeah.
we didn't made me feel good walking out of the theater. Like I said it to Lauren. I was like, I'm happy that we all got to walk out together.
I think
And I
Ricky
mean
just
that
likes.
both the
I
both
like
the
death.
characters in the
Yeah,
film
Ricky shows
and
up to
thus
movies
us
for
as the
death.
audience. Like
I
I
want
liked
people to
that we
die.
all left it together as a family. Like, everybody went their different. Some of them went their different ways,
But
but we
yeah,
all
but,
left
but see, that's
together.
the thing right there. Is I thought what the coolest thing about this way, the way they ended, is they're not together anymore, right? Like they all went different ways. But like that's the more real ending. You know what I mean? Like
That's
I think
life.
yeah,
People
that's
go different
life.
ways. People go
Yeah,
different
people
directions.
sometimes have to go different ways, and it doesn't always have to be bookended by a tragic death, and
Yeah.
like sometimes it's just like that, like everybody has that realization at a similar time. And I thought that was a really cool, mature way for James Gunn to say bye to the
Yeah.
Marvel Universe, right? Because
Yeah.
this is it. We're not going to get James Gunn in the Marvel Universe for a long time, man, because
No.
like
But
he's in bed with DC now for a while.
and we
And
can see these characters again. Like
yeah, we can.
Rocket Group, all of these characters are now out on their own doing their thing. They can show up whenever somebody decides they need a few extra characters, or like you said, Rocket helped build the time machine. Rocket helped build the gauntlet. You may need one of the characters to swoop in and do something cool, or hang out with somebody else for a while.
Yeah.
And they're free to go do that. They're out there, Mantis is out doing her thing. I would love to see Mantis show up again. I'm sure we probably will. But like what it left was the ability to say goodbye to these characters. You could never see them again and have closure. But anytime they wanted to
the doors
we
cracked
need to
open.
pad out a lineup
Yeah.
or something, you can bring somebody back, and we as a collective audience can just be like, hell yes, Drax is back. Hell yes, Mantis showed up, because we love all of these characters.
And side note, Rocket didn't kill the bad guy.
No, he did not. He's
And
grown.
I thought
He's grown.
that was one of the best moments for me, because I never would have expected it from Rocket. You know what I mean? Like
The guy with the most hate in his heart.
you know how much I hate when villains get killed at the end of the movie, because it's like, God damn it, guys, that's so not heroic, but also like it makes it so you can't do stories with these characters ever again. You know what I mean? And so like the fact that there could be more High Evolutionary one day, just like there could be more
I would
Red
be fine with
Skull.
that.
Yeah, exactly.
He was amazing. He was fantastic in that
He
role.
was fantastic. And so I just really think the growth that was shown and the maturity in the way that story ended, with Rocket not, choosing to let this guy live, and everybody deciding that they wanted to go their own way, but not in no ill will towards anyone. All of this growth that happened, and I was just like, okay, I think this is what we need right now in this moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and this is
Yeah.
a good thing. And so Yeah, that's why you never had a chance of winning us over with your takes.
It was a mature way to end the Guardians, and I think this will be a mature way to end the show. Before we wrap up,
Damn, you just want to go straight mature.
He's going
before
straight
we
right
we
Dropping
wrap up,
F-bombs, love to be.
What about fun facts? You don't want any fun trivia?
what you got? What fun facts you got for us?
Did you know that this movie now has the world record for the most prosthetics used in a movie?
Fun.
Yes, as of today, I didn't know that.
Yeah, previously the record was held by the Grinch, Jim Carrey's The Grinch. I don't remember what the numbers is on that, but it was like pales in comparison. There were more than 23,000 prosthetics used across more than 1,000 actors in this movie.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's that Counter Earth, man.
I mean, I feel like
yeah. Oh yeah,
Are
yeah.
they
100%.
counting? They're counting each individual piece of prosthetic, so not all as a sum, right? Like one character could have 100 pieces of prosthetics on them.
I mean, sure, but it's still more than like the Grinch.
It's impressive nonetheless.
Yeah,
nonetheless,
it's more than the Grinch. Counter Earth, by the way, I think it is in the comics. I don't remember enough to know, but I do know the funniest thing about if you ever want like a quick kid version of Counter Earth, Spider-Man Unlimited was the sequel series to the 90s Spider-Man, where they basically Fox Kids saw the crazy popularity of Batman Beyond, and they're like, we should do that with Spider-Man. And so they made this terrible show where Peter Parker is supposed to be the same one from the previous cartoon, but now has like massive amount of like dark shading everywhere, like to make it edgy looking, just tons of black shading. He, in the first 5 minutes, decides his suit needs an upgrade, so he makes it with nanotechnology, and then he has to hijack a space shuttle to go and chase down Venom and Carnage, who are now on a planet that's full of animal people and run by the High Evolutionary. And it's the funniest thing ever. That's the first episode, and that's the entire season before it got canceled. Spider-Man just lives on an animal planet
amazing.
In that show. It's terrible. And the best part is it's a fusion of the two things that we're getting this month. It's a pretty accurate representation of Counter Earth from the Guardians movie, and that Spider-Man that's in that show with the terrible costume, you will see him in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in a few weeks. Nice. He's in it. I've seen him in the trailers.
Oh man, I can't wait for that movie.
But yeah, I guess I don't have to give you more fun facts. It's fine. I was just afraid that we were going to end it on a mature note, and I didn't like that.
Well, put a number. Give me a number. 1 to 10. Where's this Guardians? Well, actually, let's make this. Does this crack your MCU top 5? I think that's a better way to.
I don't know that it does, and that's what's weird. Is because it probably does, but like, I don't think the story itself is anything crazy. I think it's pretty standard. It's straightforward. It's not the story that makes me fall in love with this movie. It's the characters, and it's the characters that we've gone on this giant journey with. So I think the weird part is, as a movie, like in a list of movies, I don't know that I necessarily would put it in my top 5, but I don't care that it's not in my top 5 because I don't ever want to tell somebody to just watch that movie by itself. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I would never say that.
That movie, the movie itself would not be as strong without the other 2 films or even supplemental materials outside of that. Or
the 2 Avengers, right? So, but I'm never gonna put all 3 Guardians and Avengers in the top, exactly. And Endgame and Holiday Special on my top 5. I'm not gonna do it. So
Guardians 1 has maintained a spot in my top 5 the entire time. It like, because it was that movie that was unexpected, set as a wild tone, and opened up the get weird side of MCU. So Guardians 1 has maintained its top 5 locale. I could see in time, with the way that this movie paid off so much from the previous films and previous Guardians material, taking over that spot. I'm not prepared to say that it is now. I could see it happening because as I rewatch these movies a few times, they're gonna grow.
Yeah, let me watch it like 18 more times.
Yeah, and it's gonna and you know, catch me a year from now, and I have a very high probability that I will say yes, it's cracked that top 5 and maybe replaced Guardians 1. But
Also,
it's only
a little
right
long
now
too, right?
It is. It's a long film, but it's only right now that I won't say that it's cracked the top 5, only because it's still too fresh and it doesn't have that what Guardians 1 did at the time.
Yeah.
A little missing a little sauce. I'll give the cop out and say both Guardians 1 and Guardians 3 live in my top third.
100%.
So,
100%. It's definitely. I would say I would definitely say it probably is going to land in the top 10 if I sat next.
Because as I realize, there's like 30 something odd projects if you count the shows now. So
yeah, I would say this movie. The benefit of this movie is it's like a 9.5 to 10 on emotional scale.
Yeah,
it's like a 7 on a story scale, like an actual movie scale. You know what I mean? Like I'm not lying. Like some movies are about the fan service that you get, and I think this was an excellent fan service movie, right?
If you watched Infinity War or Endgame or one of those later films without having seen all the previous MCU, you'd be like, okay, it was all right. But like, if you watched all of those films and invested, those movies hit hard. This is the same thing, but with a specific chunk of the MCU. If you watched any of the previous stuff with the Guardians, this movie landed pretty hard, at least for me, and seemingly Dennis. This landed pretty hard for you, and it was, you know, probably up there. But if you randomly just went into this movie, it would not be a 9 or a 10. It would be it was a good movie. That's all right.
Yeah. Also, if you went into these movies saying to your wife, I think I'm attracted to Nebula,
you would be happy.
You'd be very happy.
You'd be a very happy person in this film.
Yes.
the scene when they had their little like,
she can be doing the dumbest shit, hilarious. And I still like so good. As a fan of Nebula, I was so pleased with this movie. She has the craziest character arc ever. Like, do you realize, like, it goes unspoken, Nebula was an Avenger for 5 years.
Yeah.
She was an Avenger, and she also killed herself. She killed herself from a different time period. Yeah. And she's the only Guardian that hung out with Rocket for 5 years. So when Rocket wakes up from his, from them helping save his life, and the first thing he said is, "Where's Nebula?" That didn't even hit me till later. That, oh my God, Nebula and Rocket have become best friends. And Nebula did some heroic shit through this entire movie. She was the hero. I was so amazed with her.
They have their moment in 2 when they're on the ship, when they're sitting in the ship together, and like there's again another payoff of a moment they built up. That just everything.
If you like Nebula and Rocket, this is the movie, man. This is it. That's all I had to say.
Dude, Karen, all respect to Karen, because seriously, clearly one of the best MCU characters. The best MCU actor performances in the entire cinematic universe. She is incredible as that character. Especially if you've seen her in other things.
Dude.
If you've seen her and you know her outside of that role.
When Tony Stark is playing paper football with her, that is gold. That is gold, man.
She is seriously, one of the best actor performances in the MCU is her in that role. It's
so good.
It's astounding.
Karen was the best Nebula, and Dennis and Ian, you guys were the best hosts in today's show.
Well, you were the host. We were the guests.
Our best guest. We're all the host here at the DNXLCR show.
You knocked it out.
Thank you guys for nerding out with us today. Before we wrap it up, thanks to our patrons, Ian. Thank you. And thanks for all our other subscribers for supporting our growth. If you want to be part of that club, maybe you can be part of the show sometime.
Do it.
Find us at patreon.com/DenXLCR. Real quick, anything to plug, guys? Dennis or Ian?
Yeah, dude, we're gonna go do the freaking soapbox where we can talk for another 2 hours about Karen Gillan.
There you go. Let's do it.
It's available exclusively to Patreon subscribers only, live, and then after that, a week or so later, we'll make it available to the public, so you can see what we talk about after we talk about stuff for like an hour and a half. And then also, I got a bunch of art that I'm starting to put up out in the world, so keep following DenX Media to see what kind of stuff gets out there. But I forgot to mention that when we asked us what we were nerding out on. But that's it, DenX Media. What else? Are we good?
Are we good?
We're good.
I think we're good.
We're good. That's our show, everybody. Have a good night. Peace out.